Myself Dr. Naveen, Professor in Department of Civil Engineering, NITTR, Kolkata. Welcome to my presentation. Today I am going to discuss very important topic in civil engineering, that is pile foundation. My outline goes like this. First I will be trying to give an introduction of foundation, then types of foundation, then we are trying to understand pile foundation, definition and its uses of pile foundation, then classification of pile foundation. Firstly, we should understand what is foundation. Foundation is the lowest portion of the structure which transfers the load into the supporting soil. It means that the structural load which is coming on the foundation, it will be safely transferred to the soil. So you can see this is the structural load, this is the column load, it is going to transfer safely on the soil. The purpose of the foundation is to distribute the total weight of the superstructure over larger area of the soil. You can see this is the total weight, this entire load is distributed in the larger area of the soil. The foundation objective is what? First, distribute the weight of the structure over larger area of the soil, then avoid the unequal settlement, then prevent the lateral movement of the structure, then increase the structural stability. Then why there are different types of footing? You may ask this question. So why means we have a different types of soil. So different types of soil means each soil will have a different bearing capacity. So that's why type of the structural load and the type of the soil capacity, again we are going to classify this foundation into two categories. One is shallow foundation, then is deep foundation. In coming slide we are trying to understand in detail. Then I will be discussing on the type of the foundation. See, I already told you the foundation can be classified in two categories, shallow as well as deep. In shallow you have again 5 types like isolated footing, wall footing, combined footing, cantilever, or we can call as a strap footing, or raft or mat foundation. Similarly, in deep foundation you have 3 classification: pile, pier and caisson, and also sheet pile is there. So I am not going in detail about the shallow foundation, but before going to deep foundation I will be giving the glimpse of shallow foundation. Shallow foundation means it is usually used when the bearing capacity of the surface soil is adequate to carry the load imposed by the structure. It means that the soil can take the structural load at the shallow depth. You can see this is the isolated footing, this is the strip footing, this is the combined footing. See, this is the combined footing, this is the strap footing, this is the 2 columns, this is the beam, and this is the raft foundation, or you can call as a mat foundation. Then what is deep foundation? How you will classify? See, deep foundation means in which the depth of the foundation is very large when you are comparing with the shallow, and which are not constructed by ordinary open pit method. In shallow foundation you can construct it at the shallow depth with open pit, but when you are going for a deep foundation you will use a different types of equipments at the greater depth. So how you can classify when you will use the deep foundation? So we should understand this 4 objectives. See, when depth by width is greater than 4, we can call it is a deep foundation, and also where the low bearing capacity of soil is there, then we are going for the deep foundation, and also non availability of proper bearing strata at the shallow depth. So then we are going, see, you can see this is the structure, see this is the superstructure coming, see this is the weak soil. So this superstructure can't take this load by this layer of the soil. So you are going at the deeper depth where you will get a good strata, maybe a rock. So heavy load from the superstructure for which the shallow foundation may not be economical or feasible. So coming to the pile foundation, what do you mean by pile? Pile is a just structural member. So pile can be constructed by 3 material. One is steel, concrete as well as timber. a pile can be used to support the structure and the transfer the load at the desired depth either by the end bearing or skin friction. See, this is the mechanism of the pile. See, this is a bore cast in city pile. This is the structural load, maybe a building load. This load will be taken care by two components. One is skin friction. See, this is in a blue color arrow, you can see this is the load taken by the soil, that is called skin friction, and this is called end bearing. This load will be taken care by the rock. So when you are designing the pile, you have combination of skin friction plus end bearing. And also pile are usually used for a large structures in the situation where the soil at the shallow depth is not suitable for assisting the excessive settlement, even the uplift. So you should understand in which type of situation pile can be recommended. The first thing is when the groundwater table is very high. So in that condition, the pile foundation is the best solution. And also heavy and ununiform load from the superstructure are imposed. In that condition also, the piling is the best solution. And other types of foundations are costlier or not feasible, like mat or raft foundation. Instead of excavating entire area, the best economical solution is piling. And when the soil at shallow depth is compressible, in the slide number 2 I already shown you that soil is very weak. So in that condition you can go for a deeper depth. So and also where the river bed or seashore will be there. So when this type of situation is occurring, scoring will come into picture. So in that condition you have to design the pile foundation. And when there is a canal or deep drainage system near the structure, so we are going for the pile foundation design. And also when the soil excavation is impossible for the desired depth due to poor soil condition, in that condition also we are recommending the pile. And when it become impossible to keep the foundation trench dry by pumping or any other measure like heavy seepage inflow, so in that condition also piling can be done. See, from this you can clearly understand pile foundation can be done, will be acting as a two component. One is like a regular deep foundation concept, as well as it also acting like a ground improvement technique. So let me understand again subclassification of deep foundation. See, one is pile, pier, caissons, well foundation and sheet pile. See, this is the pile, this is the pile cap, this is the pier and this is pier cap. See, this is the well foundation. See, well foundation are heavier in the section and are sunk at the greater depth. This will be done in the seashore or where the pond encounter in that type of soil, we go for a well foundation. Now coming to the types of the pile foundation, see, we have again 5 types. One is sheet pile, load bearing pile, end bearing piles, friction pile and soil compaction pile, or we can call as a soil compactor piles. So when we are recommending the sheet pile, what is the objective? Let me understand. So sheet piles are a section of the sheet material. You can see this is the sheet material with a interlocking edges driven into the ground. The objective of doing is to retain the earth retaining purpose only when you are excavating. And also sheet pile can be used. See, this is when you are constructing the basement. So in that condition also you can recommend the sheet pile. Instead of going for a long retaining wall, you can use this as a sheet pile. And this can be used for a permanent structure also, for temporary also. Now coming to the end bearing piles. I already told you pile can be have 2 types. One is end bearing as well as skin friction. See, in end bearing means entire load is taken care by the at the earth strata. It may be a rock also. Why? Because you are encountering some sandwich layer like a black cotton soil or like problematic soil, very soft soil you are coming. So in that condition, this is the best example. You have to transfer the structural load to the entire to the arch data. So how you will be calculating here, the total capacity of end bearing pile can be calculated by multiplying the area of the tip of the pile. It means this area of the tip of the pile and the bearing capacity at the particular depth of the soil at which the pile rests. After doing this, you will be considering the factor of safety. It is 2 to 2.5. The diameter of pile is calculated here. Similarly, now it is a friction pile. The friction pile means this is the column load. This entire load is taken care by the soil itself only, because soil is in good condition. See, this is a soft soil, this is a stiff soil. So how you will be confirming? You can be confirming by conducting some in situ testing like standard penetration test. So based on the n value, you can also you can take the soil and conduct this laboratory experiment also. So once if this structural load is able to taken at by this depth, for example it is a 10 meter, so this is like a 3 to 4 meters. So your entire load will be designed at the required depth where the structural load can be taken at the stiff. The similar method you are calculating the, but in this case what you will do when you are calculating the friction pile, this is the surface area of the pile multiplied by this friction force developed per unit area, determine the capacity of the pile, and also you will calculate the factor of safety by using, that is 2 to 2.5, then you will get pile capacity, ultimate bearing capacity. See, this is the best example I can say use Lucknow Metro. So when I was working in Lucknow Metro, till 40-45 meters we didn't encounter rock, but in Bangalore Metro we are able to get soil plus rock at 15 meter depth, but in Lucknow Metro we are not able to identify rock. In that case we have designed the pile in a frictional pile design only. So coming to this next method is soil compaction pile. See, the objective is to increase the bearing capacity. How? You are driving the pile at very close interval. You can see by vibro hammer you are drilling the pile with the close spacing, center to center spacing. Then we can classify the pile based on the material and construction method. Like how? We have again 4 types. One is timber pile, concrete piles, steel piles and composite piles. Let us understand in detail now. What is timber pile? When you will be using? See, timber pile, it is a wooden pile. It is generally used, it is placed under the water level, and also they last for approximately 30 years. It can be a rectangular or circular in shape. The diameter or a size can vary from 12 to 16 inches. The length of the pile, it will be like 20 times the top of the width, and also they can design up to the maximum capacity of the timber pile is you can withstand maximum 15 to 20 tons only, and additional strength can be obtained by bolting the fish plate to the side of the piles. See, if you want to increase additional, then you have to go for. Then every pile will have some advantages and disadvantages. Let me have a look. What is timber pile advantages? It is rectangular in size and it is available, and you know it is an economical and easy to install. Just make it circular and just drive it. Your time consumption will be less, and also low possibility of damage. Timber pile footing can be cut off at any desired depth after installation. You can decide the depth as per the field requirement. Extra length you can cut off. Similarly, if necessary, timber pile can easily pulled out. After the work, you can use this as a permanent structure or for a temporary. Once your work is done, you can remove this pile by pull out. Then what is the disadvantage of timber piles? The piles of longer length are not always available. It is difficult to obtain straight piles if length is short, and it is difficult to drive the pile if the soil strata is very hard. And also the timber or wooden piles are not suitable to be used as a end bearing piles, because it's just for it, because I already told the maximum capacity is 15 to 20 tons only. Then let's understand concrete piles. See, concrete pile have two types. One is precast and board cast in situ pile. What is precast concrete piles? It is means you are casting the pile in the casting yard, then you are bringing to the site. So precast piles are usually reinforced with a steel to prevent the breakages during the mobilization from the casting bed to the location of the foundation. And after the piles are cast, curing has to be performed as per the specification. Generally the curing period will be 21 to 28 days. Then what is the advantages and disadvantage of precast? See, precast having high resistance to the chemical and biological cracks, and it is having a high strength. When you are preparing this pile in the casting yard, you can have that quality also. The confinement of the reinforcement can be ensured, the quality of pile can be controlled, it can be clearly monitored and controlled. And precast pile where you will be using, generally we are using in the underwater. There you can't do board cast in situ concept. So you will prepare this pile in the casting yard, then you are moving to the workplace. So then what is the disadvantage from this precast? We have to understand. So the disadvantages goes like this. Once the length of the pile is decided, it is difficult to increase or decrease the length of the pile afterwards. So suppose this type of condition you will encounter in the seabeds. See, because soil is weak, it may go deeper depth. You may decide it will be like a 10 or 15 meter, but once you go to the site, then it may take 15 meters. In that case, you can't increase the length. So that is the disadvantage, and also it is difficult to mobilize. And in case if you want to do, you need a heavy and expensive equipment. There is a possibility of breakage or damage during handling and driving the piles. So then what is the alternative? In current scenario, we are going only for the board cast in situ pile. So board cast in situ pile is constructed at the site itself only. You are driving the bore hole, you will, once the desired depth is established, then based on the depth you will prepare the reinforcement, then your concrete will be done by the trumming method. See, what is the advantages and disadvantages? The advantages mean the shells are lightweighted, so they can easily to handle. The length of the pile can be varied easily. The shells can be assembled at inside. No possibility of breaking during installation, because you are creating there and then and there only. You are preparing the pile in the site as per the site condition. And in case if you found the pile is not able to take sufficient load, then immediately you can take decision and increase the number of piles also. So that is the beauty of board cast in situ pile. And coming to the disadvantages, installation required careful supervision and quality control, and also needs sufficient place on the site for storage of the material used for the construction. It is difficult to construct cast in situ pile where underground water flow is heavy. So in this condition only we are recommending for the precast. And bottom of the pile may not be symmetrical, and if the pile is unreinforced and uncased, the pile can fail in tension if there is an uplifting force. So next, coming to the steel pile. Steel pile will have two types, maybe I section or hollow pile. You can see this is an I section piles. See, they are filled with a concrete. The sizes can vary from 10 inches to 24 inches in the diameter, and also the thickness generally used is 3/4 of the inches here. Because of small section area, the piles can be easily to dry, and they are most used as a end bearing pile. The steel pile can also used as a retaining purpose. See, what is the advantages? When you come to steel pile, they are easy to install, they can reach the greater depth than other pile foundation, and also they can penetrate through the odd layer of the soil due to less cross sectional area, and it is easy to splice the steel piles and it can carry heavy loads. See, this is the advantages. Now what are the disadvantages? See, disadvantages means when steel is there, definitely the corrosion will take place, and also have a possibility of deviating while driving. So see, in piling always maintaining verticality is a very challenging. So if you are not maintaining verticality of the bore roll, then definitely this deviating will take place. So you should ensure when you are driving the pile, and also the comparative, it is very expensive. Thank you.